Hi everyone, Titaki here. As we know, this year's iPhone 12 lineup has pretty mixed battery life compared with last year's model. But how long can you actually game on this big boy on a single charge? Well, to solve this mystery, I tested 8 games non-stop on a single charge. These 8 games are Dead Cell, King of Glory, Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG, Arena of Valor, Genshin Impact, Asphalt 9, and Among Us. These are a mixed bag of 2D and 3D games, and some of them are online multiplayer games, and some of them are single player games. Alright, let's wait no further and find out what the iPhone 12 Pro Max is capable of. The first game I tested is the Dead Cell. This action roguelike single player game fits perfectly for iPhone 12 Pro Max. Usually I would use a game controller to play this game, because I used to use the iPhone 11 which has a 6.1-inch display. Some of the on-screen camera are just too close to each other. I have trouble and just mistouch the input. But now with this massive 6.7-inch display, it works perfectly. I can comfortably touch any button without any input error. This game itself is not very demanding on the hardware. A14 chips can easily handle it, and it runs buttery smooth. I played about 40 minutes of Dead Cell. The result is actually pretty good. I would only consume 5% of the battery, so during the 40 minutes of the gameplay, I only consumed 5 and I have 95% left. When I'm filming this video, I know that everyone has different graphics settings for games. It's impossible to please everyone. Some of us like to play the game with absolutely the highest graphics setting and the highest frame rate. Some of us will just leave the game to its default setting and never change a thing about it. Well, I'm the first kind of player. The test will use the full power of the phone during the entire test. I configured every game's graphics setting to its best case scenario and set the screen brightness to about 90%. So I'm truly just trying to test its limit. Now we are changing into the second game, the King of Glory. Compared to Dead Cell, this 3D mobile game actually relatively more demanding. In terms of performance, iPhone 12 Pro Max handles it like a dream. I set everything to high and frame rate to 60 frames per second. I experienced no noticeable frame drop, but occasionally my connection is not very stable. I lost control of my character a couple of times, but I really don't think that's a problem of the phone, but maybe the problem of my home internet. In addition, this is an online multiplayer game. I also need to use Wi-Fi and data streams, hence the overall power consumption will be higher than the single player like Dead Cell. And after 50 minutes of gameplay, we have 79% of battery left, and in that case, we consumed about 16% of the battery during the gameplay. Now we have seen how the 3D mobile and 2D action game performs. Let's see how does it perform on the FPS games like Call of Duty Mobile. The setting I give the Call of Duty Mobile is quality to very high and frame rate to maximum. With 50 minutes of gameplay, my experience is very good. The game runs very smooth, but the phone started to feel warm now. However, I can still comfortably hold the phone and play game with it. It's not in any like raging hot moment yet. But after 50 minutes of gameplay, I had about 65% of its battery left. So the battery consumption for 50 minutes of Call of Duty Mobile is about 14%. After Call of Duty, let's take a look at the PlayerUnknown's Battleground. They are both FPS games, but PUBG may need to load a larger map compared to the Call of Duty. Let's see which game actually consumes more battery. In terms of quality setting for the PUBG, I set it to Ultra HD and the frame rate to Ultra. So the game itself runs smoothly without any problems. I get stable frame rate in all kinds of scenarios. So after about 45 minutes of gameplay, I have battery remaining of like 51%, so the consumption will be 14%. Now let's change to another mobile game, Arena of Valor. This game's graphics is not very impressive, in my opinion, compared to previous game I played. So I don't think it will drain a lot of power here. So I put the quality to HD with dynamic shadow and frame rate to ultra. I played 3 rounds, about 50 minutes of the gameplay. The battery consumption for playing Arena of Valor for 50 minutes is 12%. It consumed less battery than the King of Glory for the same amount of time, and the battery remaining is 39% after playing the Arena of Valor. Next game I'm going to play is Genshin Impact. This one game is the most demanding of all the games I tested. This is a big game, and it's basically The Legend of Zelda Breath of Wild on mobile. I put the graphic quality to the highest and the frame rate to 60 frames per second. Well, the game told me that this setting is overclocking the phone, and as a result, it did. And this is actually the first time I experienced a frame drop during the gameplay. However, it's very playable, but I really don't think it can hold 60 frames per second all the time. And the phone starts to heat up, and it becomes quite uncomfortable. In the end, I played about 40 minutes of the Genshin Impact. It consumes 19% of the battery and the highest of all. And I have about 20% battery left. Coming up next is the racing game Asphalt 9. This is a well-optimized game. It can run very smoothly on some of the very low-end mobile phone here. So I don't think it will drink a lot of power. I didn't actually find a graphic setting in the game though. I left it to default, but the graphics already look stunning. So in the end, despite the great visual gameplay, with 40 minutes of gameplay, it consumes only 8% of the battery, giving me 12% left to play the last game. So the last game I'm gonna play is Among Us. So this game is actually very energy efficient. I know it has like a very low end graphic setting, but this game is very fun. I only actually expected to play about 1 hour until my phone goes black screen. Oh boy, in the end, for 12% of the battery, it allows me to play for an entire 85 minutes of the gameplay. Well, I guess if you are in low battery and want to play some games, Among Us is the one to go. Alright, about a couple minutes later, my phone is taking its last breath. At 6 hours 40 minutes, the battery goes to 0% and the screen goes black. That wraps up the test. Therefore, we have it. On a single charge, I played 8 games for 6 hours and 40 minutes straight. In my opinion, if you take your phone out and play a game on the road, iPhone 12 Pro Max should last you long enough with one single charge a day. For light and medium gameplay, of course. However, for someone like playing game for 8 hours or 12 hours straight, well, it may not be enough for you. However, in that case, you are probably indoor anyway, so finding a charger shouldn't be hard. That is it for today's video. Thanks for watching.